product. So like she said, we've had almost 60,000 sites launched to date, and we've helped our customers get over 6 million users before they've even launched. So let me tell you a story kind of about how we actually came about, how we launched, and how we managed to get to the place that we're at today. I'm a big fan of data, but I'm not really going to talk about anything really data-driven today. I'm going to talk about how we hustled and how we marketed to make this happen and to really build a brand. One of the things I think is unique about what we've done is we have very strong branding, almost to basically the level of like a consumer brand for a B2B product. And I think that's been very helpful for us, and it's also, I think, a big shift that's happening in the way people market B2B software. So just to give a little context, the idea for what we did actually came from another startup that was called Hipster, which AOL bought and now actually apparently just shut down a couple days ago. Very interesting idea, but what they did is they actually copied another company that had created a landing page that basically said, hey, we're coming soon. Enter your email in, and we'll let you know when we're here. One of the cool things that they did is that they actually then incentivized people to share it with their friends by saying the more people you get to sign up by sharing this link through Facebook or Twitter or through email, the sooner you'll get in to the product. So I saw that about, let's see, 2 weeks and 2 years ago, right before Startup Weekend in Philadelphia. And what was happening with that is this was kind of blowing up in the press. They had signed up 10,000 people before they'd even launched. They had a big TechCrunch article about it. And I noticed that there were some imitators coming along. I had always been interested in sort of the area around traction and decided that I wanted to go ahead and turn this into a productized service. So we came into the Startup Weekend, and this was kind of our plan going into there. Just really wanted to get in and hustle. But what we literally did is we actually built the first version of the product overnight. And by that, I mean we actually built a landing page to advertise our landing page service before we launched it. I remember actually we got kicked out of the University of Arts in Philadelphia because it was too late. So we went over to my buddy Steve's office to go ahead and crank all night and drink too much Red Bull to get our landing page together and put it out there. So we did. We got out there. This was the first version of it, and the logo is ugly, and well, generally all of this is not so great. But I was the designer, and that was it. So we pushed this out there and basically went around to everybody in the room at the Startup Weekend, and we said, hey, we've got this landing page service. Can you sign up for it? Use it for your company, and also tweet about it to your friends. So we managed to, basically by the end of the day, Saturday, we had about 1,000 signups. And then we're able to go in and actually, on Sunday at the Startup Weekend, I went and looked at the writer who had written the article about Hipster on TechCrunch, and I noticed who it was, and it was Alexia Sotis, so basically I managed to get a list of all of the TechCrunch writers. I put all of them in an email, and I BCC'd all of them, but I tailored the email in such a way and spent about 3 hours that I knew that Alexia would probably respond to it. She did by the end of the day Sunday. We kind of stretched things a little bit and told her that the product was ready. It wasn't. And by Tuesday, we were up on TechCrunch. Now, some context around this. TechCrunch was a very different blog before Michael Arrington. And what it can do for your company, I believe, is very different today than it was then. And we actually have a lot of data around this because TechCrunch drives a lot of drives a lot of traffic to our customers. So we see what happens with that. For us, this was absolutely amazing. And primarily because what this actually does is this starts something, and then often these things get picked up by Hacker News. So this was picked up by Hacker News and got a lot of distribution. And from here, we had thousands and thousands of signups before we launched. And so what we were doing, we actually gave out a special code for people who were reading this article to get in. Alexia thought this was going to be ready Tuesday night. It wasn't until Thursday, and after many sleepless nights getting that together. One of the, sort of a side note here, one of the key things that we did too along the way was be very careful about who we chose as sort of our first customer. Somebody who was an advocate for us, and some of you may recognize this man here. He's a very famous Canadian entrepreneur, Dan Martel, who kind of in the lean, pretty well known in the lean startup space. He was actually launching a blog called Maple Butter, which is basically a Canadian entrepreneurship blog. So anyway, he was ready to go. He was one of the first examples with this, and this was really helpful to have like the first amazing customer, somebody who had some cachet and was able to then create additional distribution around our story. So on a little tangent here, to go back to his blog, I want you to notice something here. If you look, right here you can see Powered by LaunchRock, and here you don't. This is the only example of a LaunchRock site that doesn't have our branding on it, ever. When we put that out there, Dan begged us to take it off, and we said, OK, because of who you are, we will. And then very quickly we realized this was a terrible idea. So every all 60,000 LaunchRock pages since Dan have had Powered by LaunchRock on it. People try to pay us all the time to remove this. They really want to get rid of it. But many people are actually proud to have us on there and look at this as a brand and a mark of approval. But what it's done for us is actually helped create our brand and create a lot of distribution for us. A lot of people click through that who then become customers of ours. Will we ever allow people to take it off? Possibly. But for the first 2 years of what we've done, it was very, very important for people to know who we are and to get out there. All right, so back to our story. So day 7, the product actually does go live. We let our first couple hundred customers in, and all of a sudden people are slamming on this thing, using it, and 90% of them are getting bugs, and it's breaking. This product has been hacked together over lots of sleepless nights. And the interesting thing is that if you sleep next to your laptop and you answer all the emails as soon as they come in, and you tell people that this is a bug and it will be fixed quickly, all of them think that they're the only ones who are experiencing those bugs. So we were able to solve a lot of the issues that we had and also create a great relationship with our customers by being very, very responsive. And to this day, we still have under 1 hour response times from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. PST, 5 days a week. And I believe that's been a really key part of our success. The other thing that you'll see here is that this is now day 7. This is the new page. We finally have our new logo, and we have that login link. And so we did start to let people in. But we were still not letting everybody in who was signing up. We were waiting until we would take the people who had shared it with most of their friends and using our product. If you had gotten 3 people to sign up, we'd let you in. And we continue to do that actually for about 6 months. So skip ahead a little bit. As this is going on, again, we're creating the scarcity. We're slowly letting people in, and people are kind of clamoring at the door. That really created a buzz and a word of mouth that got people to talk about it. That little bit of attention was important. At this point, we were growing quite nicely. People were starting to know who we are. Traffic was growing. But we knew we needed to do something bigger to go ahead and sort of step up our game. So we went to South by Southwest. But the funny thing is, if you aren't paying South by Southwest, you can't use that term. So do it once, and then wait for the cease and desist, and they will tell you to take it down. But you might as well use it until you get told not to. Oh, this is on camera. So we just, I like using this company as a platform to do stupid stuff. And well, that was about not using South by. Whoops. We decided that we would come down to Austin and basically, let's see, we'd actually raised a little bit of money by then, or we actually had a number of commitments by this point. Ryan Holmes from Hootsuite was our first investor. Literally after that TechCrunch article came on, he picked up the phone, called me, and he signed up to be our first investor. So we had some confidence around what we were doing. He knew that in addition to having lots and lots of customers, we were going to have some money in the bank. At the time, we didn't, so this came out of my pocket and my buddy's pocket. But we launched a contest going into Austin. Basically, we set up a whole suite of deals with various software providers that we were friends with to give people free credits for things. And then we asked them to sign up here and then basically see who could get the most signups in Austin during South by Southwest Interactive. This is just a fun photo that I like to see because this was also something that almost killed me. Going into South by Southwest and trying to do promotion there is something that's really hard. We came into this and were very confident, but didn't sort of understand how much work was going to go on there, both physically and mentally. So we decided, in addition to having this whole contest here, we have a couple dozen companies that had signed up to do this. We were also going to create a leaderboard for South by. And we managed to convince a bar to illegally let us put an 25-foot inflatable screen on top of that bar to put up discover.launchrock.com, which was actually tracking through just social media mentions what was the most popular product at South by. And so this was, we had this thing where it was tracking everything. So this was the year really that Instagram hit. So Instagram actually was the most talked about product there. But we were also tracking the category of our customers who were out there signing people up. And some of you may know Zarly, and they were there, and they signed up in that time frame like 30,000 customers or so, and did very, very well, and were the ones that won that prize in the end. This is what the site looked like. So you could see it on top of the bar, which, by the way, was not that interesting. I mean, it doesn't do that much in terms of getting people to see it. But what it does is it creates a media event and sort of creates more buzz around this property that we use to create. And honestly, when we talk to our customers, when I meet somebody in a room, many people tell me that they either found out about us at South by or reading about South by coverage. So again, we've kind of gotten this to a point, we're starting to really take off. Our brand is becoming pretty well known among the tech community. And we stop and think for a second, how do we keep this momentum that we built at South by Southwest rolling specifically? So we managed to we were fortunate enough to have this new micro fund come up to us and say, hey, we want to take this contest that you've got, and we want to extend it further, and we want to actually bring a small investment into these companies. So we partnered with this fund called Vencor, who I don't believe is around anymore. Again, use these opportunities when you can. They don't come along often. To create this contest. And again, this is more TechCrunch coverage, more buzz. We just kept it going. So again, here's the coverage on this. So we come out of South by, people are talking about us, and then all of a sudden we push this out, and it just continues to go. People keep talking about it, and everything keeps growing and growing and growing. The key thing this is really the beginning of our story, but I don't want to keep going deeper. As we go down the line, we continue to, again, build more buzz and more word of mouth around what we do. And of course, focus on building very, very high quality products that people can talk about. So the biggest thing that I'm proud of is that we are enabling our customers to be successful. So when they are successful, they go out and tell their friends about it. Let's see here. So what can you take away from this? So these, I actually chose these words very carefully. And they're funny. But when I say be sexy, what I mean is you have to build very high quality products that are easy to use and that look good. If you don't, somebody else will. When I say flirtatious, a lot of this has to do with kind of what we did with word of mouth. We told you you could come and use us, but it would take time. So during that time period, that like 6 months or so, people were feeling this tension. And that really helped. They had to tell people about us again. There's some people didn't feel great about it, but the majority of people understood and were willing to help. And Exotic is to be something unique. We really came in and it filled a gap in the market that people didn't even know existed before. And that's why we were able to grow as quickly as we did. If we had come into an existing market, we never would have gotten this thing rolling. Create word of mouth. Again, going back to that logo and everything that we've done, make it easy for people to talk about your brand and then give them a reason to do so. So for us, of course, it's very simple what we do. And then originally, in order to get in, they had to tell their friends about it. Be nice to the press. You know, one of the things that I've learned, especially as I moved out here, is that this is a very, very tight-knit community. And the press is very busy. And what their goals is to create interesting stories that get page views. You need to get to know these people. You need to understand what it is they write about. And you need to make it easy for them to write about you. So don't send them dumb things. Don't refer them dumb things, because they have to grow to trust you as a source. Oops. So again, launch and listen. When you put this product out there, we had our product out in 5 days. I'm very proud that we were able to do that and make that happen quickly. Many products take a lot more time. But we were able to do this and continue to grow and refine the product because we listened very, very closely to our customers. And that helped us to refine it and really find that product market fit very quickly. And then most importantly, remember this is your story. Our brand, the way that we market and everything that we do is the way it is because it's a reflection of how I like to live and like what I like to do. So it's fun. And it's easy for me to talk about it. It's easy for me to go out there and promote it, and people believe it when they see it coming from me. And lastly, if you're not having fun, it doesn't count. This is a picture of our team actually that we put out recently when we acquired a company called Giftiki. So Yeah, that's it. Yes.
So there's been a lot of,
I feel like it's a yearly phenomenon now of right about this time actually starting to wonder who's going to win South by. I'm just curious, sort of having gone through and done some heavy promotion at South by, like what your thoughts on the long-term effect that has on the story of the startup. Like, does winning South by actually provide value in the long run, or is it a sideshow that distracts you from really building?
So I think for most companies, it's actually a distraction. We didn't launch at South by. So we'd launched before it, so we had something that we were able to build the brand and momentum around it. Robert Scoble has a very, very solid Quora post about launching at South by and why not to do it. And if you're considering, I would certainly strongly suggest that you go there and check it out. Two, we've had great success there, and last year we had okay success with what we did, but because of who the market is. I mean, we have a product that startups love to use. So it's very, very efficient for us to reach our customers by going down there. For a lot of companies, that's not the case. And I think sort of with the current state of consumer web startups, you're not seeing the same type of pickup. I mean, there wasn't really any company last year that kind of won and you would say won and is still around. I think a lot of that ecosystem is starting to fill out. So you're not going to see these things be as important. I think most companies, honestly, go down there, they waste a lot of time, they waste a lot of money, and they get too focused on it. I mean, I remember actually when we were there our first year, meeting a kid who he must have spent $40,000 or $50,000 trying to market his Solomo app of some sort, and they were not around 2 months later. So.
what's your background, and do you think that has anything uniquely to do with the kinds of ways that you did your marketing? Like, I think you're an extrovert, you clearly have an outgoing personality, and I'm wondering if you think that led you as a team to do things that maybe other people who are engineers or other folks might not actually think to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background, I actually went to school to be a materials engineer. So I was in a very different world, was going to go into nanotechnology and things like that. But I went to a weird private school growing up that was very focused on the liberal arts. So so I went from that, math and science, this weird thing. It took me a long time to figure out whether or not where I want to be. But yeah, I think that for me, I'm excited about sort of simplifying sort of digital products and telling people about them in a way that's easy to consume. And for me, the way that we market about it is just a reflection of my personality. And so no matter what you do, first you really should get comfortable. If you're not extroverted, it is going to be difficult. So you need to be able to figure out ways to talk to people. You have to be able to come in and deal with, honestly, people not liking what you do. That's going to happen. But more importantly, really embrace it and market it in such a way that you feel comfortable about it and that it fits with your story and that it is really interesting. So.
So you help people launch, but then don't you lose customers when they launch?
We currently do. It's pretty good for making money. Yes, but that will be changing very shortly. You'll be seeing some things in the next 2 months or so.
You do PR for other startups?
No. I'm happy to talk about it and help from a very high level, but yeah, that's I have spent enough of my time doing it for ourselves.
You've probably seen a lot of landing pages and kind of have the analytics on the back end to see what works and what doesn't. Have you kind of identified some key things that really do work well in that smoke screen landing page in a lot of cases?
Yeah, honestly, I think the biggest thing is it's like a visceral reaction. People come, they see the photo, they see that copy, and they just have to engage with it very quickly. Some of the most successful stuff that we've had were data visualization products that were just super pretty, things that people wanted to talk about. The way they say it is kind of like you have to, we have the ability to incentivize people to share the page. The reality of that is that people aren't going to share it. People know if they're going to share it or not coming into there. So you have to create content that they want to share, an incentive, and trying to get people to talk about it. If you give them a good reason to, it's more likely, they're just a little bit more likely to push it out there anyway. But yeah, you really need to think about, people want to see a high quality brand, and they want to be able to understand it very quickly. And they have to get excited about it very quickly. You don't have much time. Yes.
I just got on the wait list for this mailbox app, and they're doing something interesting with mobile, like by requesting, they give you an app basically to install, like to get on the waiting list.
Yep.
You download it, then it's got a little bit of interactivity showing you where you are in line, and then later I noticed that they asked for permission to push notifications to you so they can let you know when you're on the list, which was kind of clever. Getting you to agree to push notifications. Are you going to be doing something with mobile app?
We will be doing some stuff with mobile apps. However, when you're looking at that type of waitlist inside of an application, we've seen people do that before. It hasn't worked out very well for most people because it tends to drive a lot of negative reviews in the App Store. Because unfortunately, because the App Store is this closed system, it's not like the web. There's problems around it to kind of try and do it the same way. And you can only install 500 copies of an app over the air, so there's lots of issues with that. So I'm really interested to see actually how Mailbox's plans play out. Because it's a very sort of technically oriented application, I think that it'll probably go pretty well. And they obviously have to because they have a lot of serious infrastructure to deal with. But I've seen consumer mobile apps do it that have really regretted it in the end. Because people go, they grab it, and they're like, why can't I use this?
You can only install 500 apps over the air?
I think, somebody confirmed that for me. Somebody probably knows better than I do, but for testing, yeah. So, but once it's in the store, people start discovering it, and then that's when you have a problem. If they download it, they expect that they can get in and that it will work. Yeah.